Hello, video on demand people. The best people, the only people that matter. I hope you folks are doing well. We're going to pick up this adventure where we left it off. I've done a lot of thinking about it. We're going to give people about 20 minutes to matriculate in, hang out, ask random questions, and then we will get stuck in. And I think we're going to make a lot of progress today. We are in the process of renovating our office. Just painting the walls and just taking a bunch of stuff, putting it in storage, and kind of putting the set together, which is the gaming table with all the furniture around it, the backdrop of bookshelves and nerd stuff and cameras and microphones. And so I told our ops team, I said, hey, when you guys are done, let me know when you're done, because when you guys are done, we're going to start playing Draw Steel and we're going to record it, edit it, upload it, like we did with it's gonna be this adventure, I think. Socratic Lover, glad to see the modulators are here, the modulation team. Mono Water Matt, hello. Jonathan Hansen, hello. Sildari, hello. Welcome. So, we did a playtest of the Summoner yesterday, and we did a playtest of the Beast Heart last week. So, if you're a patron, if you're an MCDM patron, you have those things to look forward to. RE Draw Steel. The Summoner is really fucking cool. It's really cool, and it's working. I set Willie the task. I said what I want is I want to be able to control up to 12 minions at first level. Not necessarily all 12 of them show up at the beginning of the battle. And I want to be able to sacrifice them to power up cool abilities. And then when we basically did that. That was the Necromancer was kind of the first test case, and it worked basically right out of the gate. The testers our contract testers are now pounding on it, and they might find all kinds of problems. That's not going to surprise us, but it always is a huge hurdle to cross when it goes from paper design to actual testing without falling apart. I cannot tell you how many games I worked on where, I wrote a design doc and I said, Lars, get your ass over here, or whoever, Charles, whatever, we're going to play Disc Wars, get in here. And the game might take 90 minutes to play, but 5 minutes in, I'm like, nope, we can stop. We can put this away. This isn't, let me go back. And so anytime we get to the bare metal, actually testing the thing at the table, and it works, it doesn't fall apart, that's a huge win. So who knows what the contract testers are going to find, but in our own local games, works on my machine. In our own local games, it's working great. So this last play test was now trying out different types of summoner. This was I don't know what we're going to call it, actually. The Diabolist, maybe? That sounds fun. Maybe there's a better name. The Infernalist? I don't know. But the Demon Summoner. And the goal is, and we had a big meeting. and we're going to have another meeting. We had we had the Summoner meeting. And the end of the Summoner meeting, I was like, this is what I want. And we'd all believed it was possible. We had been talking about an hour about how it could work and stuff like that. And then Willie went and did the Necromancer. And then the next meeting was, okay, what are all the different kinds of Summoner? We think that there is a Necromancer, classic. We really, very badly want to deliver you folks, including Bonia Carlo, you folks, Daniel Friedman, that Diablo Necromancer experience, because it's to me, it's iconic. And why isn't it in? If they can do it, we can do it. So the Necromancer we get, and then we said, okay, but what are the other types of Summoner? And forget the flavor, right? The four subclasses we think the Summoner is going to ship with. It will be the summoning undead, summoning demons, summoning elementals, little motes, or in D20 fantasy parlance, mephits, that kind of thing, and the Fey Summoner that summons. I think we're going to call them sprites, and they come in different flavors like pixies and nixies and stuff like that. And sprites are ephemeral. They're like made of light. Right? The thing I keep thinking of is if you have read Top 10, and if you haven't read Top 10, you really should. It's one of the best things ever. Brilliant. And there's a drug you take that makes you see pixie fairies, and they look like little living creatures, and they talk, they have dialogue, and they tease you and taunt you, but it's just your own psychology really is what happening. These things they don't have physical substance. And so that's what I imagine is the Fey Summoner, because we also want to do a fairy ancestry, where you can play a 6-inch tall, is that 6 inches? I don't fucking know. A 6-inch tall humanoid elf with butterfly wings, and that's an ancestry. You can just play one of those. So that's reserved for players. The fairy summoner summons pixies that are these ephemeral little, and so that's cool. Hey, 4 different flavors of summoner, but why would you pick one over the other was the question, right? Apart from the flavor. And the first blush answer, like the first obvious answer, which was, as it turns out, I think wrong, but we'll see, was, undead are hard to, they're beefy and hard to kill, and demons do a lot of damage, and maybe the fae they can heal your allies and debuff enemies, and maybe elementals are about area control, right? Classic. But then as soon as we started drilling down on that, we're like, well, I don't think that's the way our game works, or that's the way that class should work, because surely every summoner should have that. Oh, I need a beefy one. Surely every summoner wants their guys to do a lot of damage, right? Or just to do damage, right? So I think we agreed that all different regardless of what you're summoning, and you don't get to mix and match, you pick, it's a subclass, regardless of what you're summoning, you have a menu of undead. You have a menu of demons, and some of them are tough, and some of them are strikers, and some of them are area control guys, and that seemed reasonable, and I think that's the direction we're currently going. And then the question was, okay, well then, how else do they distinguish from one another? And that's when it started to get really interesting, and a lot of it has to do with how you control them and what happens when they die and stuff like that. So you can watch this on Twitch. We streamed this yesterday morning on Twitch. Yesterday morning on Twitch. And I actually played Star Citizen last night. Could have streamed that. Didn't. And it went really well. 4.02 is live and seems to be working. Holy shit. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Nothing good lasts forever. So yesterday's test was the Demon Summoner. And Willie was running it. And I volunteered to run next week. So it's going to be fun. As you stop by Twitch and you get to see me run a draw steel test with a new summoner. So the Demon Summoner, the idea of the Demon Summoner is that they work like the Necromancer. But when demons die, they don't generate essence, because all minions do that when they die. They generate essence that you can use to cast spells or summon more guys. And they generate edges, which, if you don't know how draw steel works, an edge is sort of like, it's a bonus to your power roll. It's plus 2 to your power roll. So it's like advantage, sort of. Every time a demon dies, you get an edge, and you can spend those edges on all kinds. You can give your demons edges when they attack. You can spend your edges on your attacks. But if you get to the end of, I think it's the round, not your turn, the round. If you get to the end of the round and you, the summoner, have no edges, your demons start to eat each other or you. They start going crazy. So you have this new thing, edges, that you want to spend, but you don't want to spend all of them. And the idea that demons uniquely have to be fed. They have to be fed, right? And that seemed to work, although it seemed like a lot of edges flying around. So we may need to tamp down on that. That's a dial we can adjust. And then I had some suggestions that were sort of half-assed, not incredibly well thought out, but I thought were pointing in a perhaps useful direction, which is that what if this wasn't yet another currency you have to manage? What if these things sort of resolved instantly? And the recommendation, I say recommendation, but I was just brainstorming. Don't take this seriously. Was what if every time what if every time a demon dies, and it would generate an edge, instead of that, another demon goes rah, and just takes a bite out of somebody right away. Just free strike, no power roll, just base damage. Rah. And then at the end of the round, any demons that haven't gotten to the rah, they turn around and go rah, rah. Right? So you're not tracking, but that's actually just moving the tailpipe, so to speak. Instead of tracking edges, now I have to track which of my demons attacked and which didn't attack. And I can imagine some scenarios where that would be relatively straightforward. Like if your little demons were just coins, you could just flip them over. But what if they're miniatures? You can't just flip your mini over. So it may be that that's too complicated, but we're not really afraid of complication. In fact, sort of the opposite. A lot of people trying to do what we're trying to do, and I've seen this going all the way back to the 90s, is they try to make their game as simple as possible because they fool themselves into thinking that that's the barrier to entry. But in point of fact, I think what the barrier to entry is Do you have a good pitch? Do you have a game that people want to play? And if they do, if it sounds cool, then people will put up with a certain amount of complexity, especially if that complexity is to an end, right? So you play a first level draw steal hero, and coming from D20 Fantasy, you're like, my God, holy crap, there's so much going on. But from our point of view, it's like, man, not really. No, I mean, I know it's a lot more than if you're just a first level fighter, but it's not anywhere near as weird or complicated as being like a first level wizard, where you've got like 13 spells that you might know at first level or something ridiculous. And they're all in different books. Nope. A draw steal hero has 2 signature actions, but only one of them comes from your class. So your class gives you 1 signature action. It gives you a 3-point heroic ability, a 5-point heroic ability, and a trigger. That's basically it. And you have your resource, which is this other thing. It's not an action you can take. And so people show up and they're like, oh my God, look at all this stuff I have to track. But after 20 minutes, we've seen it happen live. After 20 minutes, 40 minutes, they're like, nope, I got it. And so the question is, okay, then what? If you're at the point where you're like, no, I get this, it makes sense, everything, there's nothing weird in here, it all makes total sense, so even though it seems like there's a lot, it's all to a purpose, and I've played for a little while, and I got it. Well, at that point, maybe you're ready to track edges from your dead demons, right? It's like, maybe that's okay, even though it seems, to a certain extent, like, wow, so now I'm tracking stamina, my heroic resource, essence, and edges? Really? Well, but the summoner's not core. It's not a core class. So it doesn't have to sit in the mix with the core classes. It has to be balanced. It absolutely can't. It can't suddenly be the star of the show, and it can't be basically useless. Nope. It has to be about as useful as all the other classes. But if it ends up being a little bit more if this one subclass ends up being a little more complicated, maybe that's okay. Little Frog Films, you're my new favorite person. So we are probably spending 8 minutes just hanging out, and at the 20-minute mark, we will head over to the Word and Google Docs and continue working on our adventure. I'm really excited. I did do a lot of thinking about it, not really a lot of work on it, but a lot of thinking about it, and I've changed my mind about a couple of things we'll talk about. Louis the Baseman. Yeah, I don't even think, the thing is, like, I just feel as though that edition of that game is just a mess. It's just a mess. It's not, I don't think it's worth talking about how complex is it, or how beginner friendly it is, because to me, way in front of all those things is mess, right? Where you're like, my God, why does any of this work this way? And trying to explain to like an actual new player, like why the stats work the way they do, and what's this 3 to 18 doing here, and what's a proficiency bonus, and why are there all these fucking spells, and why aren't they here where I need them? Why are they in this other book? It's like, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. What are you gonna do? Johan Gallagher, it seems like lots of people have glommed onto this, not finished, very badly in need of all sorts of revision and testing, and started just running it. And I was like, oh, okay, let me know how it goes. Yeah, and I just want to make sure here up at the top, and it's up to, what's up, Tyler Sattler, you rule. It's up to those of you who are here now, hearing this live from my meat flaps, that it's up to you to tell the other people who show up. If Matt is trying to think of something or trying to solve a problem, he's not looking for solutions. You are free. This is the thing. You are free to say, well, I would do it this way, or you know what I would do, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, knock yourselves out. I don't care. It's when people are like, Matt, you should do this. No, Matt, do this. And then they get upset that I am not paying attention. And they're like, why isn't he listening to us? It's like, well, because that is not the purpose of these streams. I am perfectly capable. Do you doubt? I am perfectly capable of getting this adventure into shape on my own. And it's my adventure. Your ideas would make your adventure. And if people want that, they can go get it. Draw Steel's open. If you want to make your own adventures for it, knock yourself out. But there are people, and this might be you, it might not be you. There are people who find the act of watching Uncle Matt put an adventure together inspiring and useful, because they go, oh, now I feel more comfortable that I could do it myself. Or it makes me want to come up with my own version of that adventure. And that is the value proposition of these streams, is you watch me do it and you go, oh, I can do that. That's easy. Yes. is there going to be a Draw Steel lore world book? Probably not in the sense that you mean. I think that every product we make for Draw, I think every product we make, period, is going to have a lot of lore in it. Strongholds and Followers and Kingdoms and Warfare have a lot of lore in them. You learn a lot about our setting in those books. So everything we do is going to have that stuff in it. I guess, like, you know, I was going to say, maybe, except maybe a class. You know, like, does the Summoner have any lore in it? Well, I don't know. All our other classes, all the standalone classes, all got fiction that we threw in there. And the first fiction was for the Illrigger, and that was not ego on my part. That was us getting a lot of feedback on the Illrigger, where people are like, this is cool, but I can't imagine playing this in a party unless it's all evil characters. And I was always like, what? Why? Like, well, because you're a paladin from hell. I'm like, so? It's D&D, man. Haven't you read Dragonlance? You're saying you can't have a party with Wraithland in it? That would be a very boring way to imagine this game. And so what I did was I was like, okay, hang on a minute. If people can't imagine how does this character fit in the mix with the other characters, I will help them imagine. I will help some of them imagine it, and I will write some fiction that shows how, yeah, there's a scene at the end of what must otherwise be a long and exciting adventure near what looks like the finale, where the heroes are all ready to act, but suddenly they're like, well, there is an Illrigger with us. Do we trust her? Right? And that resolves, and you see that tension created. How do you play a character like this in a party of not all evil characters? And you see that tension resolve, and they're like, yep, okay, we're in. Yep, she's led us this far, right? That kind of stuff. So that was the reason I wrote that. And then now that we've done it once, I feel like, why not do it some more? So even the classes we publish have fiction in it, and that gives you lore. A book of only lore. That doesn't seem, I don't know. That seems like a missed opportunity, right? Like, let's imagine that we go to hell in a Draw Steel book. I would love that. The 7 cities of hell. I think that would be fucking awesome. Probably there would be like an adventure, right? Let's go to hell. And then there would be a everything you wanted to know about hell book. But even that book, which is mostly lore, would still have a lot of titles in it, and maybe subclasses, maybe a whole class. You know, we were working on the Fall of Black Bottom adventure. We had a big kickoff meeting, so this is before the outline is written. What should this be about? And one of the things I said in the meeting, these are usually an hour long. One of the things I said, and this is me and Willie and Jordy and James all, and Gert's taking notes and offering the occasional suggestion. One of the things I said, so this is an adventure in Black Bottom. And actually, what was the context for this? Was that meeting? I think it was a different meeting. I think it might have been if we did a Black Bottom supplement, what would be in there? Yeah, that sounds like where that meeting belongs. So let's imagine we did a book of like Welcome to Black Bottom. What would you expect to find in here? And there's a lot of stuff. And one of the things I said was to the team, what class do you think, if there was a class that existed only in this book, right? Or not only in this book, like you could probably still get it on the Patreon and probably get it uniquely online. But if that product, right, Welcome to Black Bottom or whatever, if that product had a Black Bottom class in it, what would that class be? What would be a good class for a Mordheim style gothic dark fantasy city of thieves, city of assassins, right? What kind of, and I thought that was a very fun and useful exercise, even if nothing comes of it, is making sure, you know, our whole thing is about we like making classes and ancestries, and we want to make more. And if you look at the core 9 classes and you're like, well, the thing I sort of had my heart set on isn't in here, just wait, and we'll just keep making classes. They're fun to make, they're fun to play. And so let's not be limited by the 9 or by the other. We have a whole list that we brainstormed a while ago that's sort of just, we have these in our pocket, like the Acolyte and stuff like that. But I was like, forget all that. Forget all the stuff we've talked about. What would be uniquely cool for this? And an idea coalesced out of the discussion. And that idea was, what if there was like a John Constantine type character? Because the first thing somebody said, it might have been Gert, somebody said, well, what about like an investigator? And I was like, well, but what does investigating mean in a game that is principally, not uniquely, about fighting monsters? What does that mean? Right? And I don't know what the answer to that is, by the way. But as we started thinking about it, we're like, well, isn't John Constantine, isn't the Hellblazer, did they ever call him that? I'm not sure I've ever read a Hellblazer comic. I've only ever met John Constantine in other comics. But isn't John Constantine basically an occult investigator? And what I sort of was imagining was something that was kind of a hybrid of John Constantine and, this is going to sound strange, Elric. Right? Because Elric, I don't mean the Black Blade, right? I don't mean that kind of, what I mean is this one thing Elric does over and over again, which is not cast a spell at somebody because he's a sorcerer, not use the Black Blade because it's a demon that drinks souls. But whenever he's in a bind, especially when he doesn't have his sword, because occasionally he loses his sword or he doesn't have it, he always does this thing, is this rinse and repeat that he goes through anytime he's in a jam, where he's like, all right, hang on a minute. And everyone around him is freaking the fuck out. Elric, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. And he's like, all right, give me a minute. I'm the last king, the sorcerer emperor of Melnibide, and there's been literally like 3,000 kings. I'm descended from, this is an ancient empire that's been around for like 300,000 years or something stupid, and I'm a purebred descendant, like of the line of kings. And I remember somebody in my ancestry, some king or queen a million years ago or something, made a pact with like a demon leopard insect. I don't remember his name. I think it was, yeah, I think that was him. Give me a minute. And he'll do a chant and like, I summon the, and then all of a sudden this force of nature shows up, and it's like this huge thing that comes out of nowhere, and it's like, what do you want? And Elric's like, oh hey, I don't know, you don't know me. And it's like, no, but I remember your parents, right? And he's like, well, I think my ancestors did a favor for you, so you owe me, right? And it's like, yeah, I remember that. It's like, okay, could you just do me a favor and wipe out this enemy army? And this alien god is like, okay. And then they fuck off and they do their thing, and they're like, now that's it, we're done, I'm done with you people in here. And he's like, okay, I don't need you again. That happens over and over again, right? And I love that. I thought that was great. And that sort of reminds me of Constantine, right? Is he's not really a sorcerer, except maybe he kind of is like a hedge wizard, right? He just knows all this stuff, including people you don't want to mess with, right? Including people that if like that guy owes me a favor, and if I call it in, this actually, so that sounds great to me. That does kind of have an occult investigator vibe, but it also, and I thought maybe that's our warlock, is that you instead of summoning lots of little demons, you summon, it might be, you roll the dice. You don't know what you're going to get. That's the Elric thing. You never know. He never knows what's going to show up, right? He's like, I remember this, I heard this thing, right? So I thought that could be, I don't know what the rinse and repeat of that class would be. It might not lead anywhere. It was just a brainstorming exercise, but it was a lot of fun. It was like, well, maybe that's our warlock, is you're kind of a John Constantine character, and you've been kicking around a long time. You just know a lot of stuff, and you can conjure demons that'll help you out, and then they go away. It might be fun. This is crazy. What if Tara Reid says that's what Elric is? Not mostly. Mostly Elric is, what if David Bowie had a sword that ate people? That's mostly Elric. But every once in a while when he's in trouble, usually it's like once or twice per book, he has to do this thing, and it freaks everybody out. Not him included. Him not exempted. So what was I just saying? Yeah. I mean, what would be cool is if this is stupid and we're not going to do this, but this is how my brain works, right? And often these stupid ideas lead to some things that are somewhat less stupid. Is what if every time you said, okay, all right, well, back against the wall, I better summon something to pull our ashes out of this fire. You rolled on a couple of charts and it said, okay, the thing you summon has, 15 eyeballs, therefore it can do this. It's got lobster claws, therefore it can do this, right? And you're like, oh, okay, all right. Hey, guy, looking great. Love what you're doing to your hair. Could you do me a favor and go kill all those guys? This hulking abomination. That would be really challenging. Yeah. And maybe it's not, maybe that thing hangs around until it dies. And so maybe you're only conjuring things once or twice per adventure, that could be interesting. Anyway. Pete Bogg, I don't really know who that is, so I can't say yes or no. All right. So we've now given people enough time that they can matriculate into the transmute. Hello. Okay, look at this. We're already here where we aren't going to be, but we could go here where we need to be. Yes. Okay. Iron Conrad, that sounds like your class. Knock yourself out. Game is open. Do what you want with it. So again, I would say like maybe a 3% chance that class I just described to you will someday exist. It seems likely that it won't. We have other stuff to do. I'm just letting you folks know what it's like working here, how we go about things, and trying to. One part of my job as the product director, and just in general the boss, is to make sure that we don't miss out on the opportunity to create crazy new stuff just because we have this backlog of ideas, right? I don't want that. I don't want this backlog of ideas to become this burden of pressure that's weighing down on us and we feel like we have to excavate ourselves out from it. No, these are just cool things we like. We can do these whenever we want. So every once in a while, I want to make sure that the whole team is thinking, hey, what else do you guys want to do? What else are you guys excited by? Right? We can do that. Peter Casey. I don't read a lot of. I think you would be surprised at what I think of as good and bad, and I just don't read a lot of. I don't read any really science fiction or fantasy these days. I did that. I had my book my nose. I had my nose in a book pretty consistently for like 15 years when I was a young person, and I read a lot of nonfiction now. You don't want to know what kind of fantasy I like? Go read the fantasy I write. You'd be surprised at how little stuff there is out there that reads like that. In other words, Peter Casey, it shouldn't surprise you. It just means you don't know me. Like, if you knew me, you'd be like, of course he hasn't read that. Are you kidding? So this is an adventure that I plan on running for my friends relatively soon. Like, this month. And I don't know when you guys will get to see it. Maybe I once I've got we've got a couple of adventures that we're working on. This is my own personal adventure that doesn't really have anything to do with MCDM, right? This is just a thing I'm doing. Hence, it's the weekend. Hi everybody, it's Saturday here for me. We've got 2 other starter adventures that we are currently working on, meaning they are either in outlining or done outlining and actually being written. And one of them is the Delian Tomb expanded, the Delian Tomb on steroids. We'll probably come up with a better name for it. But this is I don't know anything about Draw Steel, but it sounds cool. I want to start here. Nice pastoral, prosaic adventure. You meet in an inn. It turns out, blacksmiths have kidnapped the goblin's daughter. Bit of a surprise, and there's a bit of a sandbox element to it, right? There's a local area. There's more to do, and it pays off with fighting a bunch of goblins who have taken over a keep. And it's classic D20 fantasy nonsense. The Delian Tomb starter adventure for Draw Steel should look and feel like it could be for any edition of the TTRPG fantasy game, right? And then there's the Fall of Black Bottom, which was a thing we developed for playtesting, and we are going to very drastically expand it into a much larger and more involved adventure. And this is no, I already know what Draw Steel is. I know what a power roll is. I know how potency works. I don't know what character I want to play because I've been following the Patreon or the videos, or I'm in your Twitch show, whatever. Gimme. We're like, okay, you start here. You start here. You don't want this. This is the hand-holdy, make it easy and simple and straightforward. This is the hot start. Right, and if you know the Fall of Black Bottom adventure plotline, none hotter. So this is a completely other thing that I am doing just for my friends and myself, and it's a fun exercise. I'm sort of role playing. I'm role playing that I don't work here, and I don't know. I didn't make Draw Steel. I'm role-playing being a customer of Draw Steel. Does that make sense? That's really how I think about this. I don't know if I've mentioned this in any of these previous videos. The reason I'm doing this is as an exercise for myself. What if I were Matt Colville and some other company made Draw Steel and I was excited by it? What would I do? Well, I would make my own adventure first. That's the first thing I would do, so that's what I'm doing here. Excuse me. Okay, so here we have the expedition. Let's just go over where we are. I don't know if this is the name of the. I don't know if this is the name of the adventure. I don't know if this adventure has or needs a name, frankly. Specialist wanted poster. So let's do a little bit of work on this right now while we're here. Hopefully, you folks can see this. Yeah. Let's see. Turn it off. 4 to 6 what? What would they call them? Probably specialists, not mercenaries. That has a... Let's see. Let's give this a fun... Nerd. And let's... Let's nerd this up. Nerd the hell out of this. Actually, it's not that. Isn't there... Where's... There's a font that I don't think is in Google. I don't think it's a Google font called Ring Bearer that I like for all this stuff. Yeah, no fonts found. Font off, mother fonter. Well, you'll turn into Ring Bearer. I think maybe once you leave the where would I be if I were... There we go. So specialist wanted, 4 to 6. Highly experienced. 4 to 6 let's say 4 to 6 professionals, skilled and experienced with spell, sword, with spell and sword, and faith. Sword or faith. Spell, sword, and faith. So this is the kind of... I'm not going to finish this right now. I'm just getting started. 4 to 6 professionals, skilled and experienced with spell, sword, and faith. Needed for a... I haven't used the word highly yet. Highly dangerous. Except it should probably say... the Baron seeks. So that's the first thing. First thing we gotta say. In fact, I thought about putting in the title, but specialist wanted is fine. The Baron. So the first thing we know is, oh, the Baron. It's the Baron. This is not a merchant with a lot of money. This is not a family that pulled together all their cash to hire somebody to solve a problem. It's the boss. It's the Baron. It's the local. That big stone thing that you can see when you go down the road, and everybody, all the farms can see where that is. That's this person's. The Baron. The Baron seeks 4 to 6. So the first thing you know when you read this, oh, I could get something good out of this because it's the local head person, the hat person, the hat man, or in this case, woman. The hat person is always a hat person needed for a highly dangerous job. So I don't know. Yeah, tragic backstory plus. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that out, but yeah, that's funny. So yeah, specialist wanted. The Baron seeks 4, and I'm probably gonna have to put like what the reward is gonna be in here. And given the way draw skill works, I'm not sure what that reward should be. It should probably be a title. So I'm going to make up a title. But I don't know what title I should make up. Actually, let me look and see. Let me open up. We got the Heroes book. You folks should be able to see this. Editing alert. Oops, excuse me. Nope. Let's do titles. Let's see where we get with titles. Titles. Boom. So let's just take a look at titles and see what they are, because I'm not planning on getting this finished right now. I just sort of want to. One of the ways I work, both personally and professionally, is I don't really care how far away the ending of this process is. I just want to know what's next. What's the next step? What's the next step, and do I have an idea as to how to solve it? Once that's true, then I can relax and I can move on to other stuff. And I know when I come back to this is the thing I got to work on. And that's how you break a whole big, huge thing into tiny little bits. Is I just want to know what is the next bit I have to do. So with titles, I just want to kind of load my brain up a little bit and be like, okay, I get it. When I come back to this, I will either make up a title or I will use one of these. So players don't choose titles. They are awarded. They are won. They have different echelons. The echelons are like tiers of play, but we use tier as for the result of the power roll. So we had to come up with another term. So we use echelons of play. First echelon is levels 1 to 3, and second is the 3 to 4. And then there's fourth echelon, which is levels 10 plus, or level 10, because there is no plus yet, or maybe ever, but who knows. perks as custom titles. Okay, I can turn a perk. Perks are mostly like skill stunts, skill bonuses, I think. How many titles? Just because a hero meets the prerequisite for a title doesn't mean it is granted to them. The director decides when a hero earns a title and its benefits, gated behind the director. Odds are you'll be adventuring quite a bit and qualify for more than a few, but gaining too many titles all at once can make for a complicated hero. In general, a hero typically earns one title per echelon of play, though they could earn more or fewer at the director's expense. That makes sense to me. So this is an adventure, and I don't know how many victories you're going to earn or how many respites you're going to take in this adventure, but I think it's going to be a meaningful percentage of the way to second level. How about that? And so getting one title out of this, that makes sense. Yeah. Some titles have only one benefit. Most titles, so let's read this. Some titles have only one benefit. They are typically earned by heroes individually instead of together as a group. Only the hero doing the studying or meeting a particular fate reaps the reward. And so a lot of titles can be earned through downtime activities and stuff like that. I'm the person that did this, I get the title. However, there are some titles, most titles, however, earned by all the heroes at once for accomplishing a great task, like killing a dragon or stuff like that. These titles typically offer a selection of 3 to 4 different options. So you can do this, you can earn the same title over and over again, because I've killed 3 dragons or whatever. And now I've got under the Dragon Slayer title, here's one thing you can pick, here's another thing you can pick. And so every time you do it, or we all killed a dragon, I'm going to take this cool thing, you take that cool thing. It's up to us. It's up to the players, ultimately, and I guess the director a little bit. When the party earns the title, each player decides which benefit their hero takes. For instance, I just said all this. If the party triumphs in a tavern fight and takes the Brawler title, one hero might be more adept at fighting with improvised weapons. Another might learn a special dodge to use when flanked by multiple enemies. Yeah, you get it. So this is first level, right? First level title. Ancient Lore Master. Prerequisite, you find a trove of forgotten books. That could be useful. Brawler. That's pretty easy. So you're going to guess that a lot of these, the Susurrus Codex, I didn't know, that's a new thing. I didn't know anything about that. Battle Axe Diplomat, that makes sense to me. You gain the friendship or alliance of a creature you once battled. That sounds cool. I like that. Give players a reason to want to talk it out. Doomed. You aren't a Hakan, but you have witnessed the death of a Hakan, and now you get the ambient oracular energy in the area rubs off on you. I like that. That's cool. Yeah. Brawler, City Rat. I'm trying to think of what I'm looking for a title that I can go, that's close. Let me riff on that. Dwarven Legionnaire. So this is, you fight alongside at least 3 dwarves. I'm wondering if, I gotta think a little bit, because there's sort of like the Baron awarding you a title, like you are a knight in their service. That sounds cool, but what do you get for that? I don't know, off the top of my head. But there's also title, like let's imagine that the problem in this adventure, and it is not, spoilers, let's imagine the problem in this adventure is there's a dragon raiding the town. Okay, we kill the dragon, we get the Dragon Slayer thing. Well, what's that for this adventure? It might be you fight a lot of shadow elves. Fight and kill a shadow elf, right? So for instance, if it were fight and kill a bunch of woad elves, because the woad elves are raiding the villages and they're kidnapping people and torturing them and stuff like that. You know, woad elves can be bad guys, just like humans can, just like anybody can. So imagine there were a bunch of like bad woad elves that were doing some nefarious nonsense. You might get the Woad Fighter title, right? Because I'm just really experienced at fighting in woads and the things that are in their tent. So like, are you going to go to Equinox in this adventure? I don't know, but if so, just going to Equinox might unlock some kind of like, you know, Planeswalker title or something like that. So I'm trying to think about whether or not the title should be a reward based on the things you fought. We killed a dragon, I get the Dragon Slayer title. Or if it should be more of a, I'm a friend of the Baron, right? I did this thing, and now the Baron kind of owes me one. And I don't know the answer. Let's keep looking and see what we get here. Elemental Dabbler, local hero. Actually, I like this. You save a community from certain destruction. Actually, maybe I don't need to make anything up, everybody. Spoilers. Local hero. Great movie, by the way. I'd make a good Gordon. We have an injured rabbit. Not a lot of people making local hero references in 2025. Choose one of the following benefits. A new dawn. Each time you finish a respite while in a community you have saved, the party gains a hero token. I'm not a big hero token user. I tend to forget they exist. I tend to forget they exist as a player. I tend to forget and it's the same thing. Lots of games, lots of RPGs, including RPGs I have played, including RPGs I have run, have something equivalent to a hero token, right? Was it an action? Was it an action token? What was the thing in 4th edition? Anyway, there's lots of those out there. And I always forget about them. So, but here's what I think. You gain 1 renown. I feel like what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to take the local hero title and reskin it. And say, not reskin it, I'm going to make a specific version of it. I'm going to use this kind of like a template. And I'm like, okay, well, can I beef this up a little bit? Or maybe not beef it up, but maybe just make it more specific and more specifically useful. So what are the different benefits you can get from this? A new dawn. Each time you finish a respite while in this community, the party gains a hero token. Okay, I think I can do better. Easy marks. You gain an edge on tests made using skills from the interpersonal and intrigue skill groups when influencing members of the community. Okay, so I'm not sure. I feel like easy marks implies that you are conning these people, and I'm not sure that should be the attitude, but maybe it won't be in my title. Local fame. You gain 1 renown. I think I can make this more enticing. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to copy this. Actually, yeah, I'll copy it. And we'll go into the expedition and we'll say reward. And I'll make this a header so I remember it. And I'm going to paste this in here. Yeah, we can delete the... No, well, that's not... We don't have to do that. Actually, yeah. And here we go. The perk, effect, a new dawn. And I'm just going to put this here and say reward. Matt revises the title below. Punch it up. Make it more specific to this area. Can't type while people are watching. Excuse me. So you see, we're starting to actually get into the meat of this, right? Up until now, this is our 4th stream on the subject. Up until now, we've just been talking in broad strokes, but I'm starting to get ready now to actually maybe think about running it. Still got more work to do. And so I'm like, okay, what is this poster actually going to say? I'm not going to finish that right now. I'm just getting started. I'll probably finish this offline, right? What is the actual reward you are being offered, right? So what I want is, I want the players to see the poster. I'm actually going to hand the poster out. And then maybe on the back or something. So the poster can be like in world. It can look like it's actually been written by somebody maybe. Maybe I printed on parchment paper. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But then on the back side, it might actually have the reward. It might actually have the game mechanical thing. So your character sees this. Only the character doesn't. The character doesn't know I serve the users. The character does not know about this, but the player doesn't go, oh, damn, is that the reward I'm going to get for this? That's not bad. But that's going to require punching this up a bit, because I think this is sort of the kind of title that you'd be happy that you qualified for, but I'm not sure you would seek it out. Does that make sense? These benefits are cool, but I'm not sure they're the kind of benefits that somebody would go, oh, damn, I want that. I want those benefits. Hey, I need to go save a town, right? No, you're probably going to save a town anyway in the course of your adventures. And so it makes sense to grant this as a title because that's pretty common. Saving towns is pretty common. So we don't necessarily want that title to be too awesome. If you want awesome, go kill a dragon, right? So I think we can make it we can split the difference a little bit between and make it the kind of thing where the player looks at it and goes, right? Off the top of my head, I don't know what that is, but I don't need to know what that is. I will, because Matt will revise this and punch it up. Okay, so the missing town. We'll talk about this in a second. Yeah, so this is hand displays, and actually what I want to do is I don't know where to put this. I don't know where to put what I'm about to write. Actually, I think I probably already stuck it somewhere. I don't know. Yes. So I already wrote this because I had a brainwave. I was inspired. And like, so At some point, this outline is going to stop being an outline, and it's going to become something I can run. And that means the structure is going to move around a lot, and this is part of that. So I like the idea that the first thing that happens when the players sit down, right? They've already made their characters, right? The first thing that happens is I say, okay, we open on a close-up of a hand holding this poster, right? And I pass the poster out. Maybe I give a copy to everybody, and I ask the players, whose hand is it? Who's looking at this right now? Right? And so if it's Dragon Knight is, if Matt O'Driscoll is playing Servanazor, then the hand is a clawed dragon hand in chainmail, or something like that. Right? I like that idea of prompting the players who's doing this and who's doing that, and then that's okay. So if let's say Matt O'Driscoll says me, I'm the one holding it, then we're going to follow Matt O'Driscoll's character a little while, right? And what do you think about this, right? Why would your character decide to do this? I want to prompt them and ask them what's going on in your character's mind. What's going on in your character's mind as you read this? What are you thinking? That seems like a fun way to start, right? And then we follow Matt O'Driscoll's character for a little while, and then we'll switch views, and that'll be part of the story. And then they'll all meet, and they'll all go talk to the Baron. So where did we leave things? There's a couple of things I want to do today, and then I think we'll be done for today. And I don't know if that means another stream will be later, or maybe the next time you see all this. There's going to be a point where you folks are waiting for the next video, and all of a sudden the adventure's done, because I just finished it offline and ran it. That makes sense? Excuse me. Text GAA_text says, this is basically the video toward better rewards, but now built into the game's design. Well, it's not a coincidence, but I'm glad you noticed that. Yes, the person who wrote that video is also the person who was in charge, one of the people in charge of this game. It would be weird if it didn't work that way, but if it didn't work that way, it would probably be for a good reason. So I like this opening, and it sort of sets the tone. The tone is, it's going to be cinematic, but it's also going to be, I don't want to say collaborative. Collaborative is the wrong way of looking at it. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be interactive, right? The players didn't invent the idea that the game opens on one of them reading this thing and being tempted by the offer. And why are they tempted by it? What is it? Do they want the reward? Do they want to save the town? Are they out in the luck? Are they looking for purpose? It's up to them, right? But asking which among you is the person doing this. Okay, now who among you is doing this? Who among you shows up at the last second, right? Which one of you runs into the meeting with the Baron at the last second? Am I late? Right? That kind of thing. I think that stuff is super fun, and they're just prompts. They're just prompts for role playing and also getting the plot going and stuff like that. And I'm sure there are lots of games that work like this, but this is not something that I've done a lot of, and that's one of the reasons it excites me. Wow, somebody's getting a lot of deleted messages. I hope there's not only one mod here, Socratic Lover. Although if there is, I'm glad there is. I'm glad there's at least one. Q Malvador seems to be here. So okay, I just would feel bad if one mod was doing all of it. Awesome. Maldubious, awesome. The mod team is well represented. So there is a town in this barony, probably at the edge of a wilderness that has gone dark. All of a sudden, no word from it, and that is the beginning of the mystery. There's a distant village to the west. Normally there is trade between the town and the Baron, but it's been weeks since anybody has come there, and the temp name is Brode. Brode is actually a name of a town already in my setting, so this is just a placeholder. This is going to be a new place. Escalating attempts to contact the town have failed. This is sort of the high level, what is this adventure about thing. Carter goes to Brode. Carter's just literally a guy with a cart and a horse. Goes to Brode, never comes back, so the Carter's missing. At first, no one connects the missing Carter with the missing town. Somebody notices who? A knight of the Baron? A family member? And when I wrote in bold, this must be important because Matt bolded this. Family members at the seat of the barony go to check on their relatives in Brode and never come back. So I think that might be better than the Carter, but that's just it's just a different Carter. It's a bunch of people with a cart. But instead of it being our job to go from town to town buying and selling and trading, we're just family members. Make sense? The captain of the guard brings this matter to the Baron's attention, and now there's an issue with a capital I. It is now clear that getting to Brode and coming back safely is, for some reason, no longer possible. The Baron sends some men at arms, not necessarily literally men, you get the idea, to people at arms to go check it out, and they and she They certainly expected this to solve the problem. Yeah, maybe a knight went with them. 1 knight and 6 men-at-arms, and they're gonzo. They do not come back. They never come back. This is weird because they were explicitly told to come back as soon as they encountered anything weird. Now it's time to call in the specialists. Got it. Yep. And more than just the heroes respond. This is unimportant. This is probably what we're going to do today, folks. We're going to do at least 2 things today, and then we'll see. More than just the heroes respond. There's an NPC, I think maybe more than one, who applies with the heroes. Okay, but once they see the nature of the job, they back out. I think that might still be true. So in other words, if there's 5 PCs, there are 6 people in the room with the Baron. But I also like the idea more than just the heroes respond. Okay, I'm going to add something here. As the heroes are walking in to the meeting with the Baron, 5 sinister seeming anti-heroes are walking out, pretty sure they got the gig, looking skeptically at the heroes as they pass each other. Got it. So, yes. And so as the heroes are walking in to talk to the Baron, somebody else is walking out. And the heroes are going to get the gig. And those of you who have been around the block a few times may be detecting the future structure of this adventure. Yeah, and so we have somebody who says, nope, this mission's crazy. You guys are all going to die. And they're with the heroes at first, and then they're out, and that person can come back later and be a cool kind of like Achilles in his tent kind of guy. They meet the Baron gives the mission. The mission the heroes set out. They have some, okay, you ready for this? Here we go. Oh, I already added this. I made a note. Between our last stream and this stream, I had an idea, I wrote it down, and now we're going to take that idea and we're going to turn it into something. The heroes set out, they have some early encounter wholly unrelated to the high weirdness, right? Whatever it is probably nothing. It's fine. It's a character moment. They meet somebody on the road to Broad. And then I added this, I think, since last time. It's a rival party. Oh, and I wrote a bunch of bandits, but I don't think it's that. So I don't think they're bandits. I think we're going to actually make a rival party right now. We're going to use the rules of the game. A bunch of bandits, basically, who wanted the job the Baron gave to the heroes. And I wrote, great encounter. I was so excited because, right, like these guys are waiting for the heroes as the heroes are walking down the road. And they're standing there, with their hands on their weapons. And they've got, you can tell they're evil because they have a goatee, that kind of thing. One of them's got a scar, you know what I mean? Diagnose a proboscis that goes from the upper left to the lower right. Right? And there's great dialogue opportunities there. Hey, I think you folks have something that belongs to us. Yeah, I think they stole it. I think they stole our job. Yeah. And of course, the heroes are going to be carrying a letter of marque with them. I think it's MARQUE. A letter of marque with them that says, hey, we work for the Baron. We've basically been deputized. We're not just a bunch of random idiots, right? And this is basically the receipt that if we deliver this to the Baron we get the title if we do this thing, right? And so these guys are like, the Baron's not going to much care if the folks that show up aren't the folks that set out, Baron doesn't pay attention to that stuff. So why don't you hand that thing over? Why don't you hand over the contract the Baron gave you and just go find some other way to grub up a living and leave this to the professionals and really play up, like, anyway, really goad them because these guys, they want to fight, right? They want to fight. And so that's these guys. We're going to build a rival party. And I've never done this before. This is an actual game mechanic. This is not when I say we're going to build a rival party. I am not speaking colloquially. That is a game mechanic in Draw Steel. Did you know that? And I have never used this because the game is only now done. So I'm going to be learning how rivals work along with the rest of you. And what I've done is I did a little bit of reading before the stream went live. And we're going to read about rivals right now. right? So this is an entry that we've now switched to. This is the monster book manuscript we're looking at. The core rules. There's 2 books basically in the core rules, depending on how you look at it. There's the heroes book, which is how to build hero characters and how to resolve combat and all the core rules except for the rules that are in the monster book. The monster book is all the monsters and things like how to earn and spend malice, how to build encounters and stuff like that. So this is in the monster book, and this is a section, and it's under R, just like all the monsters. Just like R for rust monster, G for gelatinous cube, R for rivals. They take the jobs. You were literally the opening paragraph of Rivals, which I did not write. They take the jobs you were eyeing on the local town's job board. They sit at your favorite table in the tavern with the best drinks, food, and entertainment. You know their name, and they know yours. They're rivals, heroes, just like you. Maybe better, right? So this is really cool, and I in principle I understand how this works, but I've never used it before. So the way it works is you pick, first of all, rivals get malice, just like everybody else does. So here's the ways you can spend malice on their rivals. If you don't know, malice is it's the heroic resource that the director gets. So if you're playing a Fury, you get ferocity, right? And you build ferocity over the course of the battle. And ferocity does certain cool things for you uniquely. If you're a tactician, you build focus over the course of the battle. Over the course of the battle, things get clearer and clearer. And the answer becomes, it's easier for you to see a solution. And you spend focus to do cool, unique tactician things, right? If you're an elementalist, you are conjuring essence out of the cosmic background microwave radiation and using that essence, the quintessence, to use to channel elements: earth, air, fire, water, green, rot, and void, right? So what's the director's version of that? The Troubadour tracks drama. What's the director's version of that? Malice, right? And you get malice every round, and I think it's based on the number of heroes that are around or alive or whatever. And it's basically the conservation of ninja. It's the law of conservation of ninjutsu. The point of malice is not just, this is super important, everybody. The point of malice is not just to say, yes, I am running goblins, and each goblin can do a cool thing. But where's the dope ass, like, supernatural shit that all goblins should have access to if there are enough of them, right? Yes, I am running an ogre, and the ogre can do cool ogre stuff, but where's the supernatural, over-the-top, cinematic nonsense that all ogres have access to? Well, here's ogre malice, here's goblin malice, and it does that, and it's super fun. It's super fun. Every time I run, I love using malice. It's one of the best parts. And I sort of wonder, I don't know, we'll all find out together, folks. I sort of wonder if malice might be the kind of mechanic that actually motivates people to get behind the screen, because they're players and they're watching the director cackle with glee when they read all the amazing malice things they get, and the player's like, I want to spend malice. How do I want, what do you got there? You got a list of cool stuff you can do. I want to see the list of cool stuff. Well, get behind the screen, and then you can have, you too can have dragon malice and do crazy shit. But the reason we'd implemented malice very early on in the development, and then we cut it because we felt like, just give these abilities to all the goblins. Just give the goblin malice abilities to the goblins. And that made sense, but it came back. Malice came back because we did testing, a lot of testing. And one of the things that we agreed on and that we decided was the game should be fun for the director the way it is fun for the players. And at the beginning of the encounter, we sort of assume that on a chart of time versus likelihood of winning or whatever, that the heroes start on that chart a little higher than the bad guys. There's a little distance. So in a normal encounter, and of course you could cook an encounter to be different than this, in a normal encounter, the heroes are probably going to win. But there's a very small distance between the heroes and the monsters, which means if the players don't work together, if they don't pay attention, right, then it doesn't take a lot for this to happen. And all of a sudden now the heroes are going to lose, right? So that's a good place to be, right? But what would happen over the course of the battle is the heroes are getting more and more resources as they play, and they're getting cooler, they're unlocking cooler and cooler stuff, but all I, as the director, have are goblins, and I am losing goblins over time. And I'm like, that's not, so what happened was the first couple of actions in the round were really cool, but then we start to diverge, and it starts to feel like, as the director, it felt more and more pointless. Like, well, I know what's going to happen now, right? They're getting more and more dope stuff, and I'm just losing goblins. And so the decision was made. I'm not going to say who, because this is a group effort. Somebody was like, we gotta bring Malice back. We have to bring Malice back, because that's the thing that can be conserved, so that you're always getting a lot of Malice, or even more and more Malice over time, right? Just like the heroes are. So what happens? Well, we have rules about you can't use Malice to with special exceptions, right? You can't create infinite loops. Malice can't make more bad guys, right? Because then the battle would never end. So within those constraints, what happens is, yeah, you're killing my goblins. I only have 2 or 3 goblins left, but look at what they can do. Now all of this Malice is being poured into this one goblin, right? And that's the law of conservation of ninjutsu, is the fact that when you're watching those Hong Kong action movies, Hong Kong action theater. When you're watching those Hong Kong action movies, everybody knows this rule. It's in Marvel movies. It starts off, there's 50 bad guys and you're killing, but when there's only one bad guy left, that bad guy is fucking badass, right? And you're like, yep, that's exactly how this works. And as soon as we implemented it, it worked exactly how we wanted it to, and it was super fun. We're like, this is it. Now we just have to fine tune this. We just have to dial it in. So that's the rinse and repeat, which I realize now is, I asked James in a meeting, I was like, that's from shampoo bottles, right? Lather, rinse, repeat. And I don't think they say that on shampoo bottles anymore, but it doesn't matter. That's the rinse and repeat of, maybe dishwashers do it, of being a director, is that you start off with a lot of goblins and not a lot of Malice, but by the end of the encounter, you only have a couple of goblins and you have a lot of Malice, and they can do crazy over the top stuff. Okay, rivals get that same thing, right? Oh, what just happened? Oh, no, okay, good. So, but in order to, and here's where, let's all take a look together at what rival Malice does. At the start of any rival's turn, I can spend Malice to activate one of the following. So work as one, cost 3 Malice. Until the end of the round, each rival can impose a Bane against a strike made against an adjacent rival as a free triggered action. Okay, so work as one means as long as I'm standing next to one of my buddies, this is a bad guy standing next to one of the bad guy's buddies, I can spend 3 Malice anytime I want to. It's already unlocked. I can spend 3 Malice to say, you attacking my friend, you get a Bane. I like that. We just do it better. We're like you, but better. Of course, they would say that because they're actually what they are is, we're like you, but evil. But they're not going to say that. They're going to say better. They just pronounce evil in a weird way. We just do it better. Until the end of the round, each rival rolls an additional 1d3 on all power rolls. Oh, wow. Wow. So 2d10 plus 1d3. That's pretty good. Against the target of their rivalry trait. You folks are going to love this. This is actually descended very circuitously. This is descended from one of the first game mechanics I ever came up with, which never saw the light of day, alas. This is in 1998, I guess it would have been, maybe 99. I was a young designer and I was working on the Dune collectible card game, which was a game I fucking loved and was incredibly lucky to get to work on because it already existed when I discovered it. But I started working, I was a volunteer, and then I became a junior designer working with the guy, my friend Owen, who was the person in charge of this game. And then Owen had to go work on the RPG, the Dune role-playing game. And he's like, you are in charge of this card game now. And I designed an entire set of cards, and I called them foils, right? Which is a more dramatic term. This person is that character's foil, right? And so like Piter de Vries, the new version of Piter de Vries had that he's Thufir Hawat's foil. And that means if Piter and Thufir are both in the game at the same time, crazy stuff happens, right? So it's delightful to me that something that I came up with literally 30, what is 97 to 25? 25 plus 3. Almost 30 years ago. Survived and made it into this game, which we haven't described yet. You will see it. Check out our loot. 5 Malice. So this must be a little bit beefier. The rival pulls out a magic consumable. I could improvise this, and hurls it, targeting a 5x1 line. So within 1 or a 3 cube. Everything. This our game. You're going to see a lot of cube in this game, just because our game deals with a lot of verticality. I think we still have this. If an ability has the vertical keyword, then when you push somebody with it, you can decide to push them up, or down. But yeah, you can instead of doing this, whap, you can go wah, punch people over walls. And we've seen people in early playtests, like the talent, like zapped someone with their mind and pushed them through the floor into another encounter, which I thought was brilliant. So that's why, walls are destructible and all that stuff. Check out our loot. So it's a 5x1 line within 1 or a 3 cube within 10. Each enemy in an affected area makes an agility test. So they make the test. So what you're going to see here, this is sort of The reverse, I used to call this a reaction roll. I don't know what we call it in the game, if we call it anything. But since I zap you with a wand of lightning, right? I pull out a magic consumable and I zap you as a 5x1 line, right? Zorch, you make an agility test. Normally, you're making power rolls on your abilities, and and rolling well means you do a lot of damage, right? But since this is a roll you're making to avoid my nasty stuff, a really good roll means you take very little damage. So looks just like an old power roll, but the results are backwards, right? So if you roll really badly, you take a lot of damage. 11 damage, then you apply a condition and save ends. The rival chooses the damage type and the condition afflicted from one of the following pairs. Oh, Sonic and... look at this! Sonic and Dazed, Poisoned and Weakened or Fired. I love this. Whoever designed this, if this is you, Willie Abil, this is A+ design. I love this. One of the following pairs: Sonic and Dazed, Poisoned and Weakened, or Fire and Frightened. That's fucking cool. Wand of Lightning. I drink a potion of fire breathing, go like that, and that's the line or whatever. And now you were on fire and you were frightened, and I love that. I'm in heaven. This is the best thing ever. And I already cannot wait to run this. I already can't wait. Why stand we here idle? Hey, what are you guys doing today? So that's super cool. Calling the shots, 7 malice. This has got to get beefy. All rivals regain 10 stamina. Oh, okay. That's okay. This is not an easy battle. Until the end of the round, when a rival uses an ability against an enemy, each rival adjacent to that enemy can make a free strike against them. Oh, I love that. This is gonna be super cool. I already like it. Coordinated takedown. Takedown. It's all right. Takedown. Shakedown. You're busted. Takedown. Sorry, I've got a Beverly Hills Cop 2 song stuck in my head. Coordinated takedown. Each rival moves up to their speed and uses an action or a maneuver that doesn't cost malice. Each rival. So 10 malice, and every bad guy, all bad guys get to move their speed and use one of their actions or a maneuver that doesn't cost malice. Oh, wait. Here comes the good part. Love this track. I actually, by the way, hang on, I'm making a point. I have no idea what the song is. Hang on, it's this bit. I found this song online, and I extracted just the vocal track because I want to use it in my modular. I have an idea for how to use it in a modular synth track. I see your face on the cover. Glass paint your lips like a lover. Anyway. What a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon, folks. I hope you are having anywhere near as much fun as I'm having right now hanging out with you, because this is great. We have good jams, and we're playing dope games. So cool. Coordinated takedown, super good calling shots. Now I don't remember how much malice I generate every round. That's the rules for that. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab this right now. I'm gonna grab this because I'm gonna need this at the table. I'm gonna print this out and have it on a card, probably on my side of the DM screen. Hang on a minute. I should write this down. Hang on a minute. Where's the adventures? If, he said, capitals, if we make the fall of Black Bottom a box set, And there's a different DM screen inside for each act. We could put the malice for that act's monsters on the inside of the screen. Now, that presupposes that one act, and therefore one screen, only includes a relatively narrow selection of enemies. It might not. It might not. It might not. So it might not work. But if it does, then that's a cool idea. Adonis 4000. I did not expect you to expect a live stream, so we're even. I noticed that some abilities use potency and some use reaction test. That is a super good point, Balupi. Is there something that dictates which is used? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, there is. Would you like to know what it is? Because I don't. It's down to the designer. There's probably some. I didn't work on the monster book, is what I'm coyly getting at. That's a James question. Probably technically a Willie question, but James probably knows the answer. I think it has to do with. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Sometimes you want to. Sometimes a dragon breathes and you got to make a roll to get out of the way. Sometimes the dragon breathes and it's like, is your agility less than 2? No. So I don't know. I don't know what the rationale is. I don't have to know. I didn't work on this book. So that's a James question for his live stream. Or if you're a patron, probably actually a really good question for a patron Q&A. Because patron James streams, but patron Q&As are where many other members of the design team can be found. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it into a new document, which is, I've already gotten started here. I just pasted this conduit here because I want to test and see. So here we go. What's going on here? Oh, this, I don't have to do that. Hang on. I almost want to put a column break here, I guess. Yeah, I guess I do. I guess I don't almost want to do it. I actually want to do it. Breaks. Column break. Whoop, there we go. Oh, formatting. Why can't you be more? There we go. I couldn't do that. Oh, fine. Whatever. So now I've got a new document that I'm going to use to store because I can't. This is a Word document, and my notes for this adventure are in a Google document. And the monster book is in a Word document. So I can't copy this or indeed any of the rivals and just paste it into the Google Doc and have all the formatting obtain. It won't do it. So solution is just make an empty Word doc, and I did that. So now I've got my malice in there, and now we're going to talk about how you actually make a rival party. The way you do it is you pick classes, right? The rivals are heroes. They use hero classes just like you do, but they are a reduced instruction set class, right? They don't have all of the bells and whistles of an actual first level hero because it would be impossible to run an entire party of first level heroes as a director. So we just reduce the number of options. It's kind of the same logic that led us to do retainers and stuff like that. The companion pets for the beast heart. So you pick a class: conduit, fury, elementalist, null, shadow, talent, and tactician. And you add to them an ancestry. So if you pick devil, then their size is 1, medium. They have no stability. They get an ancestral trait, prehensile tail, and that means they can't be flanked. The tail has that's a prehensile. I have a prehensile tail, and it has a dagger in it. And even though it doesn't have eyeballs, it's watching you. Right? Just like Doctor Strange's cloak doesn't have eyeballs, but it knows where. Have I told you folks? I'm sure I've told this story before, but my friend, the late lamented Steve Kish, who I met through my other friend Jim. Jim was running D&D for us, 3rd edition. So this is the olden times. This would have been probably around 2003, 2005. And we were playing very high level characters. For some reason, we either talked Jim into it or Jim thought it was a cool idea. And I think we were like 13th level. Like we started at 13th level. And I believe Steve was playing a wizard, maybe a sorcerer. And Jim at one point deployed, because he found it in a monster book somewhere, he deployed a bunch of cobras. and these cobras had they had like he deployed them on purpose around the wizard so that the wizard was always in melee. So if the wizard ever cast a spell, they ate a bunch of opportunity attacks, and these were cobras that had really good opportunity attacks. I think that's why Jim picked them. And so he just had all of the cobras like ready in action. When you cast a spell, I'm going to do this. And so Steve's trying to cast spells, and he keeps getting fucked by these cobras. And he had this great look on his face, this great bitter, angry, but I can't complain too much because it's all according to the rules. He's like, they're cobras, right? They're cobras that are. I'm a 13th level wizard, and I'm being brung low by a bunch of cobras. They're just dumb animals, but they know I'm the wizard. They know I'm the wizard. They know to focus on me somehow. They don't care about all these other characters. Somehow these cobras were bred. That's the wizard. Go get him. Go get him. I thought that was. So that's the principle of the tail. The tail is the rival can't be flying. So you just add that. You go boop, right. If you're a dwarf fury, then you get an extra 2 stability, right? Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't seem being you don't get any extra stamina from this. You know, you just get your size, you get a stability bonus, and you get an ability. Pretty straightforward, actually. Really easy. How many people are hanging out, by the way? I can't tell if I'm alienating people or enfranchising them. And I don't actually know where to look to see how many people are watching the stream right now. Actually, I think I do. Actually, if I do this. 551. Not bad. I've played to larger audiences, but quality counts for something. Okay, so, all right. What do you folks think? What kind of rival party should we make? Give me combos. Give me a combo of ancestry and class. Very Franched. Thank you, Red. Yeah. Okay, Orc. Somebody, Marcio Martin says Orc, but Orc is not an ancestry class. Polder Sensor. I have certain biases that when I'm like Polder should be shadows or troubadours or right, and you can play in your game. You can do whatever you want. In my personal game, the one I run at home, not the game, not Draw Steel, which is there's nothing personal about Draw Steel. Actually, that's not true. If anything, it's too personal. But for me, Polder Sensor is like a wasted opportunity. Orc Fury is kind of Orc Fury is, I think, a bit too obvious. Oh, a Dragon Knight Shadow. Okay, sure. That'll be our first. That'll be our first one. So here we go. We're going to grab a rival shadow. Now I could, if this were just a monster stat block, I could just use the snip tool and turn this into an image and drop the image into my notes. But we may yet do that. But right now I need to be able to edit this. So I'm going to grab the rival shadow. I'm going to bring it into here. This is, I'm going to leave this here because let's insert a page break. Actually, let's insert a page break here. If this works, then I'm a genius. I'm not a genius. There we go. So now we have our rival shadow pasted into here, and we decided, thanks to Socratic Lover, that the rival shadow is going to be a Dragon Knight. So we'll just put that here. Level 2 Elite Ambusher. Oh, this is nasty, actually. This is nasty. Wait, what? Hang on a minute. There's more to this. There's more to this than I thought. Are there level 1? These guys are elites. Oh, this could be BAD. That spells bad. This could be BAD. Well, what I should do is, and I'm not doing that. What I should do is I should figure out I should use the rules. How about that? Again, this is not Matt. This is the weekend. This is not Matt, the owner of MCDM, showing off draw steel. This is Matt role playing the act of being. What if Matt bought draw steel? I'd be like, I am sure there are some of you who are like this. Man, I don't need any encounter building guidelines. I'm a professional. I know what. I got just going to throw a bunch of bad guys. That's their problem. That's the player's problem to deal with the fact that I'm about to drastically overcook this encounter. But there are things I can do to tamp down on this. The fun of the rivals is there's going to be 5 of them, right? So there are going to be 5 second level elites. I have a feeling that's too nasty. Okay, fine. If I keep scrolling, do I get other level 5? Okay, so they it looks like they go 2, 5, and then it goes to 8. Okay, so the lowest level guys, got it, are level 2. Okay, there's not. It looks like there's not level 3. It goes 2, 5, 8. That's fair. No worries. So we got the shadow, and now we're gonna grab the Dragon Knight. So Dragon Knight is, we're just gonna literally copy this. Their size is 1 medium. So here's how to read this. This is actually, I was really happy when James came up with this, that there are squares, right? On the grid is made of squares, and your character has a size, but that size cannot be a direct 1-for-1 to squares, right? Because you want there to be, you want it to be possible for there to be a human. Well, a human takes up a 1-by-1 square. Okay, but there are also Hakan, and Hakan are they're like small giants, right? And we think of Hakan, we're like, well, wait a minute, Hakan are like almost twice as big as a human. Does that mean one Hakan is a 2-by-2 square? No, that's stupid. That's crazy. 2-by-2 creatures tend to be a lot more powerful than that. So, but wait a minute, what if I'm playing a polder? What if I'm playing a dwarf? What if I'm playing a pixie? Am I in do I take a normal 5-by-5 square, a normal square, and divide it into little tiny squares? What we did was we said, so like basically, 1 is how many squares do you take up? And then within that square, are you small, medium, or large? Right? So you can be, so a 1M creature is bigger than a 1S creature, but if your size is 2, then you're 2-by-2 and you're bigger than all these people. So basically the M, S, and L allow us to differentiate within one square, size 1, between tiny, medium, and large creatures. I think very elegant design. It sits well with everything else. So let's give our shadow 1 stability. 1 more stability, so this is 2 for some reason. I don't know why normal shadow has 1 stability. Did I do that right? Let's take a look. They all have, a lot of them have stability. Oh, probably because we're imagining okay. So the shadow has 1 stability. Now they have 2 because they're a Dragon Knight, and they have this cool new ability, which I'm going to post right here, I think. And what I want to do is I want to copy this, and what I want to do is I want to do paste formatting. Whoa, where's Format Painter? Oh, where's my ruler? Thank you. View the ruler. Yes. No, not the ruler. F off. Not the ruler. Not the navigation pane. Where's this thing? But stay here. Pin. There we go. I figured it out. I'm smart. SMRT. Not like people say. Not like STUPD. And now I want, I guess, home. Yeah, there's Format Painter. Awesome. So I'm going to highlight you, and I'm going to hope this works. 50% chance it doesn't work. Click the Format Painter, and then I'm going to click here. That is the opposite of what I thought should happen. Well, look what it did, though. It put the line where I wanted it. Awesome. So what? You know what I bet it did? I bet that's 2 different formats. So now if I click Format Painter, and I click here. Okay, fine. F off. No, it didn't put the line there, actually. That line is left over. Okay, fine. I tried. We're getting closer. I just want to put that line there. Is that just a rule? Can I just insert line, table, pictures, shape, header, footer. There's actually often like literally line. Shapes? No, that's not the kind of line I want. I want a rule. I want a horizontal rule. Where do you come from? Where do you come from, horizontal rule? I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Screw you, horizontal rule. What'd you ever do it for me? There we go. So now the Dragon Knight has ancestral trait wings. Actually, I sort of feel like maybe that should go up here somewhere, right? In my head, the stuff that's kind of always on should go toward the top. So what I could do is I could say speed fly 5 while fly. Okay, speed 7 fly. I mean, that alone, I don't even need the text now, because I've just added what the text does. So I could probably delete this, but I'm gonna hang on to it because while flying, their stability is 0. That is good to remember. I could put stability 2. Actually, you know what I could do 0 while flying. Now I don't need this. I'm a big proponent of I'm a big proponent of if I can just put it in the stats and delete the text, do it. So now we have our Dragon Knight Shadow. Done. So that's one. A Dwarf Null. Yeah, dwarfs are good bad guys in this setting. So let's grab a Dwarf Null. Let's grab a Null. If you don't know what a null is basically like a monk. They are unarmed martial warriors. They are innately psionic because they tap into the null field, which is a thing that disrupts supernatural effects. So they don't need or use any tools, or they suffice, and they will headbutt you or punch you until you submit. And when you use supernatural things against them, it's not likely to work, or it's less likely to work. And I believe there is still the null field where they project some kind of if you're near me, then supernatural shit is less likely to work against you. We went through a lot of permutation on that. It was Jordy was in charge of the null implementation, and there's a really complicated version of the null where you're constantly asking your director, is this magic? Is this magic? Is this magic? And that's that would be, if this were all played on a computer, that'd be great. But coming up with how do you be anti-magic without constantly asking the director, is this magic? It took some iteration, but we got there. So yeah, let's just grab Rival Null. Hopefully, we should talk about this. Hopefully it is clear to you how if you were doing this, it would be a lot easier and faster. And I stop and I take a lot of time. Here's the Rival Null. So let's talk about rivalry. Let's look at what the Dragon Knight Shadow can do. They have 80 stamina. That's too much. They're going to smoke these guys. So at some point, maybe not on stream, I'm going to go through here and I'm going to tamp down on all this. I'm going to reduce their stamina. I'm probably going to reduce their damage a little bit, and that might be all it takes. Yeah, their stats are not unreasonably high. It's just going to be stamina and the effects they do. 2d10 plus 2. That's a normal power roll for a low level character. So swift serration, meaning like serrated knives. This is a melee strike. It's 2 creatures or objects. That's awesome. And you roll and you do damage, and if you do well, this is potency, and this is very actually I could bake this in right now. Oh no, it is baked in. It is baked in. So this is awesome. This is an awesome example of how potency works. Potency is very powerful. It is our version of saving throws, right? And I can't go into, I'm sure I will make a video at some point, like a short on the MCDM channel saying, all right, let's talk about potency. And in that short, I might talk about how we got here. Maybe not, because you don't necessarily need to know how we got here in order to know how it works. But the principle is, wait, you're doing something to me? Wait, this dragon is breathing on me? I get to do something. I know it's not my turn, but I get to, don't I have some chance of getting away? Of getting out of the way? No, you breathe on me and now I'm on fire and I did not get to do anything. That's weird. I don't like that. It's yeah, I get that. I don't like that either. However, a big, huge part of Draw Steel that even if you're a player and a director, you might not be conscious of because it's just the way it works and we don't make a big deal of it, is what we call the flow state. And the idea that when it's your turn, you just go and do stuff. It just works. Stuff just works. You just do it. Well, coming from D20 Fantasy, there's a lot of what I call playing tennis, where there's a net, and the net is the DM screen. And this is my turn, and I'm doing this thing to you, and I go, pock, and I hit the ball over to your end, and I sit and wait for you to tell me and the ball is a question. Hey, what's your armor class? Or what's your and I wait, and you might not have been paying attention. You might have been in the middle of a conversation, and you give me an answer, and then I have to ask again because the answer you gave me doesn't make any sense because you misunderstood what I was asking. No, I didn't. I don't mean this. I mean that. And like, oh, right. No, that's 12. Okay, 12. And now I say, okay, I hit, and then they say, no, last time you rolled a 12, you missed. And I'm like, well, wait, hang on. Did you give me this data or give me that? Oh, no, this is a different dude, and he has a bigger bonus, and you didn't notice that. Oh, wait, is that dude attacking me? Well, then I get a bonus to my AC against that guy, so I'm not a 12 against that guy. I'm a 14 against that guy. I'm like, okay. So that, oh my God. Even that example I gave is not the most egregious. And this happens dozens of times every session. A single combat happens over and over again. And I hate that. I hate it. So that was a big directive of mine is our game's not going to work that way. You just throw shit over the other side of the screen and walk away. Right. And keep taking your turn. So the way potency works is A is your agility. Right? I am the Dragon Knight Shadow. I am using Swift Serration. How agile are you? So your decisions do matter. You don't decide anything right this second, but you made your character, right? You chose to make a character that has either a high or a low agility. And this is where that choice pays off, right? Because the characters with high agility, if it's 2 or greater, are not affected by this, right? And the number 2 comes from my best stat, my agility. So this is agility versus agility is what this is. My agility is 2. Is your agility less than that? Then you are affected by this. So, and the other thing that was happening that we didn't like is that they were like, I breathe poison gas on the 5 of you, and you're all weakened. I'm like, they're all weakened? All of them or all of them? All of them? There's not, some of them are and some of them aren't? Because what was happening was we were just accumulating an enormous number of buffs and debuffs every round because everything affected everybody. I'm like, no, it cannot work that way. So what this means is I use Serration on this. It's 2 people. It's 2 creatures or objects. And we're going to find out together. How is your agility? If it's low, and I just say, if your agility is less than 2, you are bleeding until you save. That's it. And I don't know if your agility is, that's up to you to track that. I'm just letting you guys, I'm letting all of you guys know. If your agility is less than 2 and you're affected by this, you're bleeding until you save. And if I spend a malice, I love this. This is so important to me as a director. As the director, it was so important to me, both for players and as the game director, it was really important for me that both directors and players had lots of ways to spend their heroic resource. Not just, here's the 3 cost, here's the 5 cost, pick one. Nope. I should be getting lots of my heroic resource, and I should have lots of different cool ways to spend it. And this is an example of that. I can spend 1 malice, and the Dragon Knight teleports. I already like this guy. I already like this dude, right? And you want to, that's another big part of my design philosophy. Are you a philosopher? A big part of my design philosophy. It's the city of philosophers. Actually, I guess that would be Love City. A big part of my philosophy as a designer is don't tamp down, don't cap my maximum. Seduce me into spending things. Give me reasons to spend this stuff, right? And that pays off over and over again in the design of this game, right? So here's an example of that. Here's 1 malice. So yes, I want to hoard my malice because I have cool malice abilities. I have a 7 malice ability. Look what it lets me do. Are you kidding? That's awesome. But oh gosh, I really want to spend 1 malice on this. I just 1 little malice on this, right? That I always want more, right? I never have enough to do everything I want to do. That feeling, that space is a really fun space to be in as a player. And this is the kind of stuff that makes the director feel like a player. I'm so happy. This team is so good. James, Willie, Jordy, fucking knocked it out of the park. Coat the blade. This is a maneuver. So I can move, I can attack, and I can do this. Maneuver is sort of, I think, a more robust version of like a minor action from 4th edition, and I think also a much better implemented version of bonus actions. There are lots of things you can do with your maneuvers, and they include grabbing people. Grabbing somebody is a maneuver. It's not an attack. Right? Some things that have power rolls, like just pushing somebody, which in this game is a big deal. Just pushing somebody is a maneuver, and giving you more offensive ways to use your maneuver, so I can do other things with my action is very useful. Coat the blade. The shadow coats their weapon with poison. They have an edge on the next strike. Ooh, and the potency increases by 1. I like that. It only works on my next strat. So yeah, I dip my blade in poison. Ha! Sounds good to me. Exploit opening. I deal 5 extra damage to bleeding targets. Well, this sounds good to me. I better roll well on this, right? And then here's the star of the show, folks. I hope you all are still. I hope you all didn't. Hope nothing's going on in the world that caused everybody to suddenly run away from their computer. I hope aliens didn't just show up and make their presence known, because then you're not going to get to hear about this awesome thing, rivalry. So all rivals have an ability called rivalry. And what you do is, at the beginning of the encounter, the shadow selects one creature with a line effect at the start of an encounter. Line of effect means not only can I see you, but there's nothing blocking my vision. So a bush, I can see you, but there's actual physical material between me and you. A window, right? It's rare. It's usually line of sight. 9 times out of 10, line of sight's all you need. But every once in a while, I can see that person, but there is physical material between me and them that is making it so that it's blocking line of effect. And you need line of effect. And actually, it's line of effect is a super important thing. There were so many edge cases in this game where just saying, no, it's line of effect, resolved them. It was astonishing. The shadow selects one creature within line of effect at the start of the encounter. So you size each other up. You're pairing off, basically. The heroes and their rivals. Both the shadow and that creature. So it's not, the rivalry is not a unique bonus. Oh, God. Why do people bother playing other games? That is a genuine thing I am feeling right now, although I also am aware of how ridiculous it is to say that. Why? Because they're cool is why. So it's not just that. So the shadow picks a rival, and now we're going to dance. And you get a bonus against me, and I get a bonus against you. Come on, let's go. Well, you're going to go fight somebody else? You're going to give up your cool 1d3 power roll on every attack? Come on. Anyway, so that's the Dragon Knight, and that's basically how rivals work. And you just saw me build an easy one, and now we're going to build a rival null. And it's way easier to build these than it is to explain them, folks. And I'm going to go grab Dwarf. I get +2 stability, and I get great fortitude. Cannot be weakened. Oh, that's fuck. Is that true of dwarves? Dwarves are badass in this game. So I get +2. The null gets +2 stability. Oh my God. This person's not 5 stability. This guy's not going anywhere. Of course not. He's a dwarf. Rival dwarf null. Dwarven null, elite harrier, +3 stability, and they get this cool new ability, which I am going to try to put here if I can. Ancestral trait, great fortitude. Rival cannot be weakened. Let us. Actually, this nice little thingy here does not have center or doesn't have justification options. So, boop, there we go. And of course, now my formatting isn't working. The rival can't be weakened, and I would like to put a rule here, but I don't know how this rule got here. If I just copy this, is it like a non-printing character? Yeah, it did work. It worked. Look at that. Copy and paste worked. If I do this, actually no. Actually, did I do this and I do format painter? Will this work? Will it paint the? Yes, it did. It painted the background. Good. Oh, actually, but I didn't want that. Oh, I'm stupid. Once again, I'm stupid. Not like people say. Not like smart. Actually, was that? Actually, let me. There we go. Maybe I don't want it to be. What's going on here? What's this? Maybe I don't want it to be centered. Ancestral. Can I just go like tab? No, I can, but that's. Oops. Close enough for government work. Okay, so that's our Dwarven Null. We're going to name these guys. I'm going to name them, and they're going to be cool, and they're going to look awesome. And the Dwarven Null's rivalry, which is wrapping around here, so we might have to insert some carriage returns. But again, this document is not the one I'm going to use at the table. I'm going to copy images from this and paste it into my notes. The null selects one creature within line effect at the start of the encounter. That's the same language every time. Both the null and their rival add. Is it the same for everybody? Is it the same for everybody? Yeah, I guess it is. Rivalry is the same. For some reason, I talked myself into imagining. Yeah, that's Matt Colville. Matt Colville first blush design is that every rivalry ability could be unique. That the null's rivalry with it could be unique. And then Matt playtests it, and that's the Black Iron Pact, and comes back and goes, that's too many things to remember. That was the great lesson of that when we deployed action-oriented design for the first time in the Black Iron Pact battle, which you can watch in the Chain of Acheron live stream. The one thing that I was like, okay, everything here worked except one thing, and that was giving each of them unique reactions. I'm like, just remembering all those reactions was like on top of everything else I had to do. No. So remembering each person's unique rivalry, no. But remembering that each one, all you gotta do is remember each one has a rival, and that just means when we fight each other, we get to add a d6 divided by 2 to our power roll. I like that. Makes sense to me. All right, what's our next? We got a, I'm way behind on chat. I'm literally like 30 minutes behind on chat because I paused it when you folks were making recommendations. Orc Fury, I said it's too obvious. Dwarf Null, I liked. High Elf Tactician, Wandering Shade, High Elf Tactician. I like that. I like the idea of a High Elf. I always assume, this is not necessarily true, and in fact, making it not true could be a really fun, dramatic thing. I always assume that if there's a party with a tactician, the tactician is the leader. The idea of a high elf, a scarred, fucked up high elf mercenary, because the high elves are poets and scholars, and, you know, so what's this guy's story? Why isn't he in the woad? I don't know, but I'm dying to find out. I think he might literally die to find out. So we need to go grab the rival tactician. No. Actually, let me make sure. Nope, the mods aren't yelling at me. Rival tactician. Oh, and this guy's ranged. Oh, artillery, ranged. High elf. I like. There are things I am liking, and this is one of them. So let us scroll here, post so you folks can see this. Wait, can you guys see this? Let me make sure. Yeah, you guys can see this. Okay, I'm just making sure that I've set this up right. It was really tricky because we've got like 3 different documents. We have the monster book, we have my Word doc where I'm pasting rivals into, and we have the Google Doc. And so I had to just tell OBS, forget about documents, just look at this part of my monitor and make sure they're all in the right place. Okay, so here's our rival high elf tactician. Our rival health tactician. And you will notice when you look at the draw steel rules that the ancestries are in order elf, woad, and then elf, high. And you might think that's not alphabetical order. In alphabetical order, it should be elf, high, then elf, woad. But they are not in alphabetical order. They are in alphabetical order. As a completely original joke and not something I stole from Pesto, our lead tester. And the reason is because I wrote fiction for each of the ancestries, and I wrote the Woad Elf. These characters in the Woad Elf fiction are the same character. It's a story across 2 ancestries. Here's the beginning, and here's the payoff. And then I went, oh no, I wrote all this stuff, but I forgot that they're not in this order in the book. And James is like, we can put in whatever order we want, man. It's our book. I went, oh, we can? He's like, yeah. Just whoop. I'm like, whoop. And that's when Spencer was like, they're in alphabetical order. Looks like there's a comment here on dual targeting shot. I'm not going to worry about that right now. So what does high elf get? Once again, this is so easy. I get no bonus to stability, normal everyday size, but I have otherworldly grace. Grace is one of our full-time staff artists. She appears in this book all over the place. Otherworldly grace. I'll put that here. Nope, not there. I'll put that here. And I'm just gonna, actually I don't want it centered. That's the thing I was doing before. I want like a tab. And then this is gonna be right just a foot. Why is it like that? That's interesting. And then I want a rule here, but I don't remember how to copy and paste a rule. There we go, that worked. There we go, that worked. Otherworldly Grace, at the start of their turn, the rival can turn the duration of one save ends effect into end of turn. EOT means EOT is short for end of turn, and that means this goes, whatever this thing is you're dealing with, bleeding or weakened or whatever, it's going to go away at the end of your turn. So just put up with it for a turn and then it goes away. Save ends means you are rolling a d10 and you have to roll, I think it's 5 or higher. You have to roll 5 or higher, or maybe it's B to 5, I don't remember. So this can take save ends and turn it into, I like that. That's super cool. So super good for the tactician who's all about positioning, maneuvering conditions. Dual targeting shot, target 2 creatures or objects, power roll, spend 2 malice, and so I can shoot arrows, love it, range strike, perfect for a high elf. Whoever said high elf tactician, whoever that was, Wandering Shade, you get a gold star. Maybe Wandering Shade's already read all this stuff and knew they would synergize well. This is a signature action, so I can do it every round. It's just damage to 2 creatures. It's pretty good. And if I spend 2 malice, two allies within distance can make a free strike against them. That's some tactician bullshit. I'll cover you. This is not a signature action, so it costs malice, and it's a lot of damage. It's more damage than the signature action, and see how their stat is already built there. If their might is low, they are weakened until they save. And then an ally, oh, so good. An ally adjacent to the target regains 5 stamina. I'll cover you. What a great, so good. I want to hug whoever did this. Overwatch, triggered action. This is a triggered action. They have a trigger. An enemy moves. At any point during the movement, the tactician makes a free strike. That's pretty easy to remember. And then the rivalry is rivalry, and we know how that works. So, we have a Dragon Knight Shadow. We have a Dwarven Null. We have a High Elf Tactician. Don't we already like this party? Isn't this enemy party already really cool? And if we weren't streaming, how long would this have taken? Would it have taken 5 minutes? Copy, paste, add an ability. Copy, paste, add an ability, plus 3 stamina. Right? And God's willing, and the crick don't rise, at some point there'll be lots of rivals that people have made and shared that have personalities and names and stuff, and people just go, oh, I just knew it. Oh, look, High Elf Tactician, got it, already done. The game is open. Everything except the art. Everything except the art is open. So that's cool. That guy's done. So we need some zappy people, right? Polder Fury. Maybe a null. No, Devil Censor. Ascended Gurk says Devil Censor. Destined Oval says Devil Conduit. Well, a conduit of Thalasco. Thalasco, the saint of strategy, the inventor of wargaming. Hard to resist that guy, right? A Devil Censor. I sort of feel like Tactician and Censor we could absolutely do 100%, but we have 5 and we've picked 3. So now is the point where I'm starting to be picky about the last 2, right? I think I want an Elementalist or a Talent. And a Censor or a Conduit. Let's go Devil Conduit. I can't resist. All these ideas are cool. A fucking Devil Censor is awesome, but a Devil Conduit is also awesome. Let's have Devil Conduit. So let's grab a Conduit more. Oh, we already have a Conduit actually in here because I already pasted it in just to test. Does this, can I copy and paste this? The answer was yes. So now we just got to add Devil. Devil, which is no bonus to stability, just can't be flanked. Here we go. Super easy. Excuse me. Why are you, there we go. Prehensile Tail. What if I do that? Oops, excuse me. I just did it twice. The ability is so nice, I posted it twice. You are not bold. And there is a carriage return here. And there is a rule here. The Thunder of Heaven. Ancestral trait. Rival can't be flanked. There we go. So the Conduit can't be flanked. There's our Conduit. Again, he's wrapping. It wraps around, so it starts here and it ends here. I'll fix that. So it's just a single image posted into the dock. When I paste the dock, no problem. This is just quick and dirty. And now, I'm going to scroll until I find a suggestion for a good Talent or Elementalist. A green Elemental Polder. People love Polders. Okay, here we go. Green. I don't think with these. What do you call them? Oh, I actually just jumped all the way. YouTube did not like the idea. YouTube has a buffer for chat, and I had paused chat for so long that it went, "You've abused the privilege." And so now I'm caught up, basically 3:40. I'm now 2 minutes behind. But actually, Hakan Summoner would be great, but we don't have Summoner Rivals yet. I could probably build one. But somebody said Polder. Somebody said green Elementalist Polder. So Elementalists come in 7 different flavors, of which I think 3 are included in the book. You'll get more later, but we didn't have room. And so you can be a green elementalist, which is actually very like a druid. It's very, very like a druid, but not exactly a druid. You're an elementalist of the green. There's earth, air, fire, water, green, rot, and void. And James did a really good write-up for explaining what an elementalist is. Very poetic. I loved it. So yeah, let's grab elementalist. And I bet I'm not going to pick, I bet it's just going to be generic elementalist and you don't pick what the thing is because we're trying to save work. We don't want to be, here we go. Rival elementalist. Got a green ability, because an air mage can still pick fire powers. Absolutely. So your specialization, your elemental specialization in no way precludes using other elementals as an ability. So this is great. And it's the whole thing right here. Great. I just copy this. Paste here. Nerd. So here is our rival Polder elementalist. No worries, 100%. What did Polder get? M&O. They get stability 1 and nimble step. That sounds useful. MB says, I genuinely have no idea how anyone could ever use prep like this. Really? What is it I'm doing that seems like it's impossible to do? This actually feels pretty much along the lines of all the prep I've ever done. So what's this? What kind of ability is this? Yep, it's just an ignore. Yeah, no, I don't get it. MB, maybe another stream. Maybe you have all of YouTube and all of Twitch if this isn't working for you. Because this seems pretty straightforward to me. Nerd. And then let's grab this rule. Ancestral trait, nimble step, the withering green. Yeah, we can do a little, I don't know why. Looks good to me. Well, I'm not really worried about, if you've noticed, yeah, I mean, I guess 1S, doesn't matter. I don't really care. I don't really care about size. I know the polder is small. I don't have to worry about it. No idea how anyone could ever use prep like this. Really? What? That's like here's a monster. Here's a monster. Right? Here's his hit points. Here's how here are stats. Here it can do this every round. What? Like it's actually an incredibly streamlined and potent collection of text. It's really easy to get. I have a thing I can do. Here's a maneuver. Anyway, well, maybe the game's not for you. What a boring world it would be if all games were the same. So we have our rival Polder Elementalist, which I really like already. And then, what was the, is that it? Wait, do we have it? There was a devil. Did we put the devil in here already? Yes, devil conduit. Devil conduit. Is that it? Or did we finish and I got distracted by somebody who couldn't figure out how to, Dragon Knight Shadow, Dwarven Null, High Elf Tactician, Rival Devil Conduit. Yep, we have 5 bad guys. Now, this is not what's going to be deployed at the table. These guys are level 2 elites. These guys will fucking smoke a first level party, I think. I will go back offline probably. I'll go find the rules for building encounters and I'll see what's my encounter value, how much budget do I have. People seem to really, really like the rules for building encounters using, and actually I think they're just a riff on the rules from Fleet Mortals, which people very, very strongly prefer, I think even to 2024 D&D. So I'm not, I think that'll be really straightforward. However, I'm in anticipation of it saying, bro, you don't have that many points to spend. This is a crazy over the top. I'll be like, no problem. I'm just going to step on these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down their stamina. I might half it. I don't know. We'll find out. And I'm going to probably step on some of their damage a little bit. You know, we'll see. So that is this. This document is going to stay here. And we're almost done with this stream, right? So we've created our rival party. Let's go back to the outline, right? We have a mission, and this is where the encounter is going to live. I'm just going to take screenshots of these guys and dump them in here so I can print out my notes and I can run the game from my notes, right? I don't have to have something separate. I don't have to have monster cards or anything. Nope, they're just all gonna be my ghoul. I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean. So we've got at least one of these guys, like this dude, right? This dude is bite-sized. He's already ready to go. I can just go nerd, and then go into the Google Doc, and I could do this. So this is right? And now if I want to, this is an image now. I can shrink this image down, so that so that I can do 2 columns. A second will fit here. I can make that work, no problem. And then I just print it out, done. I'm not going to having done this, I might forget that I didn't step on this guy. So let's remove him. But that's what it's going to look like. So now they're out. They encounter their rivals. Ideally, they beat their rivals. They get a little bit of action, but it's not plot related, right? The rivals came from the town. They're not involved in the high weirdness. So now, when crazy shit happens, I can push the players a little harder because they know how their guys work. Make sense? Excuse me. Folks having fun? Well, here's the question, Nathan Hinote. Who's asking for oatmeal anyway? Like, it shouldn't have had to be that big a deal. But yeah, anyway. Cool. All right, so let's keep going. So this is the next encounter. Actually, no. Shadows in the Grass. Shadows in the Grass. Those of you who are new, this is your first part of this. This is the first time you've been here when we're building this adventure. The next encounter is the players find the remains, what looked like the cart, the family that left the town to go, that left the barony to go find what happened to I have friends that live in Broad. My brother moved there. My sister-in-law moved there. You know, my daughter moved there with her new husband. What do you mean no one's heard from them? Where are they? Let's go get some of us, normal townspeople. We'll get a cart and we'll go. And this is where you find out what happened to them. But all you see, the cart is here. The cart is here. And you see the shadows of the people, but no bodies. They're just shadows in the grass. And then if they watch, the shadows are moving. And hopefully the players think they're still alive. They're still alive somewhere, but their shadows are stuck here. And there's no fight. There's nothing. I don't know that there are any tests to make. You know, maybe learning. I thought that I wrote here the assailants were short and heavy. In other words, if they look for tracks and stuff. But that's because I thought they were dwarves, and I'm not sure they are dwarves anymore. Are the rivals going to die? I hope so. Don't you? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. From me, Pete Tong. See ya. Oh, is that? Have we already been streaming for 2 hours? What's next? Oh, I think Amtrak is next. Oh no, Renata Doval. This is a good stream. So Shadows in the Grass. Yep. And then the idea is they just investigate this, right? They just investigate this and they're freaked out and there's no fight. And there might not even be any, there might be like, can we see what happened? Yeah, absolutely. Go make some checks and you get more or less information depending on how well you roll. And then they catch glints of metal, some sunlight glinting off metal, like weapons or armor maybe, in the forest that they can see the edge of. A small little grove of trees. And they go and they find out, they see near a grove of trees, the heroes see what appear to be humanoid figures. They investigate. They find the missing men-at-arms. They have been turned into thorn sculptures. There is no flesh or bone or leather or metal. Maybe the metal of their metal and armor remain. You can see their arms and armor. Everything is now turned into bark and leaves and thorns. And there's no flesh anymore. Even their clothes are now leaves and stuff. And I had written that there's a fight here. The thing that turned the men-at-arms into thorn sculptures is a thorn dragon. But then I was thinking, that's what that looks like. Hang on a minute. Thorn dragons are incredibly beefy. A thorn dragon is like a level 2 solo. A thorn dragon will absolutely eviscerate a first level party, right? And I often... I know I'm not alone in this. When there's a new edition of a game I love, and I'm like, I want to see what they did, I will often grossly overcook encounters for a lot of reasons, mostly because earlier editions of D20 Fantasy, you literally cannot trust the encounter design, right? And so you learn over time, the game says this is a deadly encounter, but that just means there's a 50% chance someone's going to go unconscious, one of the heroes. And that's as bad as it gets. And you're like, no, you just learn over time you have to overcook stuff. And so you start, I'm going to throw a Medusa at my first level party. And you're like, is that a good idea? And so that's kind of where I was when I was like, yeah, Thorn Dragon, I'm sure it'll be fine. No, Matt, you worked on this game. And you've been in dozens, if not hundreds of playtests at this point. You just look at the stats. The Thorn Dragon will fucking smoke a first level party. Encounter design in Draw Steel is no joke. When it says deadly, it means everyone's going to die. Right? It means that we calibrated it that way on purpose. Right? So we need something else. And really the reason I used the Thorn Dragon was because it came to mind. And I was like, is there anything else like that in this book? I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else that's like that kind of nature-y thing. But let's look for, I saw something in a playtest. Oh, DTOs. No, I don't want DTOs. There was something in here. You guys can't see all of it. I can't see it all either. Brambleguard. A Brambleguard. Yeah, Brambleguard. What's that? High Elf Ordinator. We're in the High Elf section, which is, I think, where we need to be. Oh, there's a retainer. If you want to have a High Elf buddy, that guy will join you. I think what we are looking for is a Brambleguard. Elemental summoners, though high elves have cultivated a strong bond to elementals and can call upon their aid whenever they need it. Soot crows scout from the sky living vine walls called Bramblegars. Yeah. Where's the Brambleguard? Here we go. Level 2 platoon defender. A Brambleguard. It says it's a high elf, but I think that's just because it's made by the high elves. I'm not sure this is an actual literal dude. In fact, we fought one of these in a playtest, and it's like a big swamp thing monster. There is, I thought, if not a Thorn, I actually, and I think this happened in a live stream, where I was like, Thorn Dragon's too beefy, maybe I just need a Shambling Mound. I'm sure there's something like a Shambling Mound in here, and somebody, I think it might have been Gub DM. Somebody was like, Matt, a Shambling Mound's a 6th level solo creature, and I'm like, that's way worse than a Thorn Dragon. Oh, okay. Is there a baby? Is there a mambling? Is there a mambling sound? Maybe not the whole man thing. I have a giant sized man thing. Really? Maybe keep that to yourself. Maybe not a giant swamp thing type monster, but maybe a little tiny little bit. That's like, oh, Brambleguard maybe. So level 2, 59 stamina, EV 8. That's interesting. EV 8. Because didn't EV 16 guys have like 60 stamina? It says a lot about how encounter value can be not 100% based on stamina. Speed 4, free strike, wall of roses. The Brambleguard speed becomes 0 and they extend themselves into a wall. That's cool. Whip frenzy. So this is a fey creature made of thorns, and it's got some dope ass whip. Thicket and Thorns, the Brambleguard blocks line of effect for enemies. An enemy that starts their turn adjacent to it. Wow, that's cool. So I like this. I'm going to grab this, and I might monkey with it a little bit. I might make it a little bit more supernatural. I'm going to give it 1 or 2 other abilities, and there might be more than one of these. So let's grab this, and we're going to put it in the same doc. We have a staging document, which is this is where we put our rivals. And here at the end of the rivals thing, I'm just going to drop in the Brambleguard. And this is kind of a note to myself. Actually, there we go. This is a note to myself being, I don't know why the colors changed. Isn't that interesting? To be like, hey, give this guy some shadow abilities, because he's not a high elf Brambleguard. He's a shadow elf Brambleguard. So he's going to have some unique ability, and we need to understand why. And I think there might be more than one of these, right? Actually, how big are these? Size 2. Good. So I think there might be 2 or 3 of these, or 2x2 creatures. And if they kill you, or I don't know how the ability is going to work. I'll figure that out later. You turn into one of these thorn sculptures. You're dead. That's the golden rule, right? If an ability can kill you, it should be able to turn you into a poodle, and now you're a poodle. I could have killed you, so I can do anything with you, basically, including turn you into a thorn sculpture. So we will need an ability, which I'm not going to worry about right now. We will need an ability that is, so when the players are fighting this thing, they go, now I understand how those guys became thorn sculptures. Now I get it. These things did that to them, and they're going to do it to us unless we ... Make sense? So we've now streamed for a couple hours. I feel like that's it for today, right? We made some good progress. We now know we've made a little bit of progress on what kind of reward are they going to get. It's probably going to be some version of the local hero reward, but I want to give this a little bit more teeth. I want to give this more teeth so it's not one of those things where it's like, I am rewarding you for something you were going to do anyway, therefore this reward is not that beefy. No. I want this to be enticing. One of those titles, if you're like, I want that, how do I get it? Yeah. So I need to beef this up, but we have a template to start with. I started working on what the actual poster is going to be. I'll finish that offline probably. We have the idea of how does the adventure open? What's the first thing that happen? And I'll flesh this out. There'll be more of this. Might do that on stream later. We still like the missing town. All that stuff is still working. None of this has changed, except now there's enemy guys leaving. We meet the Baron. We meet these rivals. It's an encounter. Could there be a negotiation here, I wrote? There could be. There's an entire negotiation system. However, I don't know what, I don't think they can negotiate with these guys. Do you? Not based on what I know about them. They're thieves and scoundrels and murderers. They're bad guys. They're bad guys. So I don't know what the players have to offer, and the players don't have a lot of power. They're roughly equal, I think, to the rivals. We expect them to win. So I don't think the heroes are going to be able to talk these guys down. And they might be excited to try the negotiation system, but if I do a good job of describing these rivals, it will never occur to them to negotiate with them. No, not everybody can be negotiated with. So they're going to fight the rivals. They're going to find the shadows in the grass. Nothing's changing here. They're going to find the missing knight, and instead of the knight, they're going to find the Minute Knight. They're going to find not the Mennonites. That would be very weird. They're going to find the missing knight's retinue, which are the men in arms, right? Who have been turned. The knight's not there. The knight is in the Shadow Realm, and then they're not going to fight the Thorn Dragon. They're going to fight the Bramble Guard, the Shadow. The Shadow Mound. Right? A couple of Bramble Guard needs to be different from your normal Bramble Guard. It turns people, yep. We need some evidence that the Bramble Guard is controlled. Literally a crown. Could it be an arrow? I don't think so. I don't think we need that. I think we replace this with, it needs to be clear, like visually, that this is a shadow elf creature. I can do that. That's not a problem. I have no problem. I can delete all this, right? Because they're already a Fey monster. So it's easy. I think it's going to be easy for me to describe this as it's from Equinox. It's a natural thing, but from another world, right? I think I can absolutely do that. And then we'll pick up what happens after that in probably the next stream. That's it, folks. We streamed for 2 hours. Could I stream for more? Yeah, but I don't. I already spend. I might stream later today. In fact, I think I probably will on Twitch and just hang out, maybe check out Star Citizen. It seems we were in Professor Oakley and Nick and I were in Star Citizen for a couple hours last night playing the public build, and it seemed to be working fine. But my point is that I spend a lot of time in meetings, and I get meeting fatigue, and I get streaming fatigue the same exact way. So we're making good progress, and I think sometime real soon, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to play this adventure. We're already a big chunk of the way. You know, this by the way, hey everybody, Matt Colville here. I can probably run this adventure now. Because do you think they're going to beat the rivals and investigate the shadows and beat the Bramble Guard in one night? No, they're not. I'm telling you that right now. So I don't necessarily need to have the rest of the adventure finished. Do I? So between, I do want to do a little bit of narrative groundwork to understand the town, how we're going to present the town, what's it like being in town. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get a map of the town, but I probably am because there's a million town maps out there, so it's easy. A couple of NPCs, the Baron, what's it like meeting the Baron, drill down on that, get the poster ready. I could absolutely I could run this tomorrow if I spent the rest of the day just in normal, everyday D20 Fantasy prep land. Finish the poster, figure out who the Baron is, how do the players learn what they learn, and then we're off. Absolutely, I think I could do it. So, do you folks have any questions about what we've done? Don't try to think of a question. This is where a lot of bad questions come from. If somebody's like, I got to think of a question. No, you don't. Is there anything that people were asking upstream that seemed like good questions before I take off? Well, you just saw it, Duke Nukem. Yes. You just literally saw it. That was it. There's not more. That was it. Karn, same time next week? I don't know. Maybe. When's the next stream? I don't know. It depends on. I'm not a professional streamer, so that is a question I do not know. Follow. I think if you click subscribe, follow. I don't know. There is a thing you can do on YouTube where when I go live, you get an alert. Let me put you the reason I'm not like, yeah, I'll see you folks next Saturday is because I don't want to wait till next Saturday to work on this, right? So I might stream on YouTube more this week. I might finish this offline. I don't know. Would prepping a high level adventure look much different? It's a good question. I don't think I in principle, no. The difference between high level adventures and low level adventures, and I don't know that this is, it's just the scope and scale of what it's the stakes. The difference is the stakes. In a high level adventure, you tend to save the universe. You don't fight a Bramble Guard. You fight a Darkseid or fucking Ajax or something. No, I don't think a high level adventure. The difference is where are you going, how cool are the monsters. But high level adventures have plots just like anybody else. They have bad guys, don't they? They have mysteries and things you're trying to stop, solve, make happen, stop happen, just like anything else. I don't know that high level adventures are or should be innately structurally different from don't they have doesn't a high level adventure have a beginning, middle, and an end? Yeah, I think so. How do you prep when the party is at a crossroads? Like there are multiple places they can decide to go. Well, what you usually do is what I usually do is whenever the players decide, whenever I want to present them with, you can go here, 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 here. Or alternatively, once the players decide we're going off the rails, all I need is one encounter, and that's probably the rest of the night. Right? So yeah, there could be 3 or 4 branches and the players pick one and I go, okay, well, if you go down this branch, then this is the first encounter. Let's play it now. And the players, it doesn't feel perfunctory. It feels like they're exploring or whatever. And that at the end of that encounter, we wrap it up and or you could do what I do with like when I run, and this might turn into a product. This might be a Age of Heroes product, which is the next 2 years of Draw Steel, where I literally will prep 4 or 5 whole adventures. Small, bite-size, 32-page adventures like the Moat House, against the Cult of the Reptile God, right? I did this. These are adventures you can go get. T1, the Village of Hamlet, right? Village of Hamlet against the Cult of the Reptile God. The Crucible of Freya was a good one. And what I do is I read the module kind of just casually. I don't try to memorize it. And all I need to do is what happens first. So when the players are dropped into the sandbox and they hear rumors about there's something going on with this town, there's a ruined keep in the swamp, right? There's a stolen chalice from the temple, and they're like, what do you mean stolen chalice from the temple? We'll go to the temple, and oh yeah, these under cover of night, and it's important to us, and we'll pay you to go get it. Okay, all I need to know is what's the first thing that happens in Crucible of Freya? What's the first thing that happens in all these? Run that, and then prep the rest later. How many parts will this adventure building series have? Tony Wang, how would I know the answer to that? It's a good question. How many How many phases? This is episode 4. How many episodes are there going to be? How would I know the answer to that? I have no idea. GubDM, I don't know. It's just fun and straightforward. It doesn't matter what my favorite part is. If it doesn't work on you, it doesn't work on you. So I think that's it, folks. Yep, I feel pretty good about this, and I'm really looking forward to running this game for my friends. So until next time, be seeing you.